everyone. I'm Esther Hertzfeld, Executive Editor with Hotel Management, and I'm here today with George Jordan, President of Oxford Hotels and Resorts. Today, we'll be diving into how Oxford Hotels and Resorts is focused on thoughtfully expanding its portfolio through selective market growth, intentional development and renovation, and continued investment in design, technology, and service. Welcome, George.
Good morning. How's everybody today?
Great. Thank you so much for joining us today.
It's my pleasure.
So, what is your strategic vision for Oxford Hotels and Resorts over the next 5 years?
Effectively, we seek to grow our management platform through various acquisitions, developments, redevelopments, et cetera. The 5-year plan basically is to prudently grow the hotel under management or asset managed throughout the United States, Caribbean, and Mexico to be in the top 50 metro areas. We'd like to double our size for sure within the next 5 years. Our team members are basically always looking at everything through an owner-investor lens, which is our primordial DNA, if you will. We started off as a real estate development company. And we like to think of ourselves as being rigorous, creative, disciplined, independent thinkers who embrace contrarian views on the analysis of macro and micro data warrant. But most importantly, our culture is about people, performance, and profit. And that becomes our guiding principle, which helps us maximize the value for all stakeholders over time.
Well, that's great. So, what markets or segments present the biggest opportunity for growth for Oxford?
Historically, we've managed everything from 2-star limited services up to 5-star hotels. We've developed all of the same. But our bread and butter, our sweet spot really is urban luxury lifestyle hotels, including independents, as well as those that are either soft branded, co-branded, or even hard branded. And we have a very strong background in what we would call big box urban assets. And as I mentioned, extended stay and select service as well. We see these areas for opportunities for continued growth, supply and demand normalizing over time. And as I mentioned earlier, our long-time contrary investor mentality allows us to hit hard some of the opportunities in national and sub-markets that have been hit really hard during this post-pandemic reset. So those are some of the areas that we try and focus on: lifestyle, luxury, as well as the various other segments that are out there.
Oh, that sounds great. So, how are you approaching new development and renovation decisions these days with everything that's going on in the market?
We've executed a significant number of large-scale developments, redevelopments, and comprehensive renovations throughout the country over the years. However, right now, it's pretty darn difficult for ground-up developments and large-scale developments to pencil, to deliver a risk-adjusted return on investment for Oxford and the investors. So as a consequence, we think that it's more attractive right now to acquire, renovate, and reposition existing assets because we get material discounts to the ground up replacement cost. But we're flexible in our approach, and we're always looking things through an agnostic lens. And by that, I mean whatever's best for our investors in that particular asset, location, time, and place is what we'll do in order to maximize risk-adjusted returns for our investors and stakeholders.
That's definitely key in today's market. So, what criteria determine whether a market or property becomes part of the Oxford portfolio?
Well, we'll look at everything and anything, quite frankly, but we confidently can transform and optimize assets across the spectrum and across the country. So there are very few opportunities that we wouldn't at least take a look at and be open to considering. But because we're also an investor, developer, and an operating manager, we see a lot of income statements and market data, market share data, and that's both good and bad. I mean, it's great because we've got a lot of intel, but it also allows us to be a little bit more picky about where we think we could be transformative. Effectively, we know that our profit margins, because we've seen a lot of data, are basically the best in class in virtually every comparative metric. And so we look to build partnerships with owners and investors that basically realize the ultimate scorecard is profitability. Of course, guest satisfaction, employee satisfaction are extremely important in delivering that profitability. So we don't want to minimize that, but we do think as I mentioned, the ultimate scorecard really is profitability. Our tagline actually is when profit matters. I don't know anybody who would disagree with that. But when profit matters, it just transparently emphasizes that our margins are among the best in the industry. So we'll look at anything and everything, and we think we can do the best job to maximize profitability for our stakeholders.
So, kind of talking a little bit, you'd mentioned the guest there. So, what investments in technology, design, or service are you making to really elevate the guest experience across your portfolio?
Right now, the buzzwords are, and they're out there, you hear them in every pitch at every conference, at every sales meeting, is all about AI. And we've been investigating into AI before it was a buzzword. And so there are really three areas that we're looking at for AI enhanced platforms. And broadly speaking, these are back of the house areas. So robotics and things that make the housekeeping department or the F&B department more efficient. Enterprise and administrative. These would be accounting systems, procurement systems that are getting very, very smart. And then the third area would be areas that are guest centric. So that would have to do with the reservations process, quite frankly, chatbots, how we book and sell reservations. There are limitless possibilities, and we don't necessarily want to be the first to market with innovation. I mean, we often say that it's great to be an innovator, but the pioneer often gets an arrow. I mean, shot in the back because you've made a huge mistake and everybody else is benefiting from it. So we don't want to be first to market with innovation, but we do recognize the efficiency gains that are available through this vertical integration that are now readily feasible for implementation. So for 2026, we are beginning the process of really rolling out some of these enterprise systems. I think everybody's heard of Gemini or Copilot or Claude or the various other ChatGPT, being one of the biggest ones. These are effectively all what we call LLMs or large language models. And so we're trying to now roll those out in our company so that the back of the house and the enterprise is using these to become more efficient. I think digital key everybody knows about, but as that becomes more ubiquitous throughout not only the brands but also independent hotels, we will be able to integrate that with agentic concierges, which sounds fancy, but the word agent just means exactly as you thought. It's an electronic agent as opposed to a physical agent. So agentic concierges will further enhance the experience for the guests. And I like to say that this is the burgeoning intelligence revolution. We've had agrarian revolution, we've had industrial revolution, technological revolution, and now we're basically in an intelligence revolution, and we're going to embrace it. And I guess the last thing is that in the area of website, and I don't want to give away too much of our secret sauce, but really the way the websites are built is completely different today than it was even 5 years ago. And this has to do with redeploying the schema or the background, the backbones of the website so that one computer can talk to another computer. It's machine-to-machine marketing, which is basically driving things for now and for the future. So that is a major initiative for us this year, is redeveloping the schema on all of our websites in 2026.
Wow, it sounds like you're undertaking a lot this year. That sounds great.
It's probably not as much as it sounds. It's really back of the house, as I mentioned, which is embracing some robotics that we think are smart, enterprise solutions across the administrative, finance, procurement area, and then in the sales and marketing, which is really what's paramount to drive revenues, which ultimately drives profitability.
Absolutely. So, Oxford is really known for its distinctive lifestyle driven properties. So, how do you ensure that each hotel maintains its individuality while still reflecting the company's broader brand philosophy?
Every hotel is a unique asset, even if it's a brand of 1,000 different hotels under the same, header. Every hotel is a different physical location on a different block in a different city. And so we go in and look at every single product by starting with a full SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, just to make sure we understand the existing or the potential product if we're going to be developing ground up. And really, this process creates what we call the foundational DNA. It's very, very important that we understand what the product is going to be at the right time, the right place, and for the right people, and that we build this product based on that foundational DNA. And we do that for each and every product uniquely. It's not a one size fits all cookie cutter approach. Look, anybody can develop a great designed room. Study after study shows that you need a great bed, a great TV, a great bathroom, plenty of hot water. It needs to be clean. The service needs to be good. We don't think that that's an impossible task for virtually every good operator out there. But the difference is in the culture, in the feel, in the vibe. I don't know. When I walk into a hotel lobby, I can instantly tell whether it has a good feel or not. And I think the consumer does too. I don't know how to describe that with the right, you know, nouns, verbs, pronouns, other than to say it's sort of a vibe. But we want to make sure that when people walk into the lobby of our hotel, it feels right to them. It smells good. It looks good. The sound is right. And when we do that, um, it allows everybody to feel like um, it's a lifestyle property. And when we take care of the people, they take care of us. They're willing to come back and spend more money. So this is that people performance and profitability culture that we speak about often. Right people hired for the right job at the right time and right place will take care of the guests, which are people. Those things lead to a great guest outcome. And so guests are then willing to come back and spend more money. We incentivize our team for their performance, which ultimately kicks into profitability. And then when you have more profit, you can then roll that over into investing into your people. So it becomes a virtuous cycle. And I think that cultural differentiation that we have in rewarding our people for great performance embeds and imbues throughout the organization, and that allows us to deliver a product that stands apart from everybody else's great bed, great shower, and great TV.
There's so much going on in the hotel industry these days. What major shifts do you see shaping the hotel industry in 2026, and how is Oxford really preparing to stay ahead of them?
That's a great question, and to be frank, obviously, we thought about these questions for a couple of weeks. Things have changed in the last couple of weeks, as they often do with new geopolitical storms in the Middle East and so forth. But I think that is really indicative of what's going on. We're in what I've referred to as the post-pandemic reset, and I mean this has been going on for 5 years now, and many hotels have had a lot of deferred maintenance. Um, Deferred capital. Hotels have sort of slipped down some of the food chain. And as a result of that, we think that hotels are competing not only on price, but on quality. So we do see a lot of hotels that they may be getting the same rate as the next guy, but they've really slipped down the food chain. So the value proposition is mismatched to the quality of service, and it's a serious issue. We also see that the brands are starting to get a little bit more diligent in enforcing brand standards and requiring PIPs or property improvement plans to make sure that they're enforcing uh, the proposition of the brand to the customer. And then we see continued marketing through the large language models or uh, the Geminis of the world, and continued turbulence in the capital markets. I note today as we speak that the long bond is up like 11 bips. So there's choppiness in the financial markets. As my father used to say, and it's an expression that we often hear, when you're handed lemons, make lemonade. And so that's what we'll do. We will take advantage of the challenges that are presenting itself in the post-pandemic reset and make some lemonade out of it, whether that's buying distressed assets and repositioning them or flagging or deflagging, depending on what may be going on. But suffice to say, we're hyper-focused on improving quality and service and delivering that brand proposition in a vibe hotel, if you will, as I mentioned, that you can feel when you come in. And I think these trends are going to present themselves throughout the markets, north, south, west, east, suburban, urban. There's a reset going on in the hotel industry, and anybody who is not watching it is looking through rose-colored lenses.
Well, George, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it, and have a beautiful day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.